What has changed my life? I've got a spoiler for you, even though this is an update post. It has changed my life. It has changed pretty much every symptom of fibromyalgia. Hi, I'm Melissa from melissaversusfibromyalgia.com and founder of Yoga for the Chronic Life virtual yoga studio. And I am finally giving you the 4-year update of my low-dose naltrexone for fibromyalgia experiment. So as someone whose mission is to share everything I learn so that your journey to wellness can be shorter than mine, this is the type of video I am very excited to be able to share. So as I said, it's taken 4 years to get here. I have given you other updates along the way, but the fact that it's been 4 years of sustained change and my life looks totally different is very, very exciting. So this is the type of medicine that we get excited about because it's inexpensive, it doesn't have huge side effects, and it's doing something at a deeper level than just creating a band-aid effect. So we're going to talk about what low-dose naltrexone is, how it works, a tiny bit about the research, and I'll give you extra links so you can go and look them up. And most importantly, how it's helped me. So with sleep, pain, fatigue, and more. So what is LDN, or low-dose naltrexone? Naltrexone is an opioid antagonist, but it works differently in the body when it's taken at a lower dosage. Usually it's prescribed at its full dose for alcohol and opioid addictions, and those are at doses of 50 milligrams or more. Low-dose naltrexone is usually anything from 0.25 milligrams to 6 milligrams, but there seems to be a bit of variation. So the research usually uses 4.5 milligrams, but I've heard of people using 6 or 8 milligrams or double dosing in the day, so it varies. But how does low-dose naltrexone for fibromyalgia work? So at a lower dose, like I said, it chemically works a little bit differently at a lower dose than a higher dose. It temporarily blocks the opioid receptors, which encourages the body to make more endorphins. So there is a theory of fibromyalgia that we have a deficiency in the endocannabinoid system, which is where this stuff is happening. So Dr. Ginevra Lipton puts it this way. First, it increases the release of endorphins, the body's natural opiates. And second, it lowers inflammation in the central nervous system. So there's two key things here. One, it lowers inflammation in the central nervous system. These are two key things for managing fibromyalgia. So research has been showing promising results for several years. Dr. Jared Younger started with a tiny study and found positive results of about 65% of patients experiencing a clinically significant effect from taking it. Dr. Younger's theory is around neuroinflammation, or inflammation in the brain. The studies tend to focus on pain, but sleep and fatigue can be improved as well. And I'll provide some links below, and I've got a full article on my blog, which I will link as well so that you can get heaps of information around all of these things. So let's talk about the benefits and the side effects. Besides the high efficacy rate or impressive results, the other massive benefit of LDN is the low side effect rate, especially when you compare it to the other normal medicines we are offered with fibromyalgia. Some of those medicines have atrocious short-term effects and even worse long-term effects, and they can be really hard to get off. Low-dose naltrexone, you can just stop, and the only effect you'll feel is it not working anymore because you're not taking it. There is no withdrawals or negative effects from it. So the side effects that happen are generally transient or short-lived and limited. For example, insomnia, headache, or vivid dreams when you're beginning. So compare that to some of the other symptoms we get from other medicines. So just going back to talking about the no withdrawals, when I was pregnant with my third baby, I stopped taking low-dose naltrexone at 37 weeks and went back on after I'd had the baby, and there were absolutely no withdrawals or negative effects at all. The medicine is also inexpensive, so that's a boon for a community that struggles to work full-time and has a lot of medical expenses. It can take some time to see the benefit though. So most of the trials start people at 4.5 milligrams, and the trials last around 8 weeks. So in practice though, what I've seen for me and people in some groups I'm in is that we tend to need to start at lower doses and titrate our dose up slowly. And I also think it depends how much background work needs to be done for our body to reach any level of healing that we can notice any benefit. So one significant issue is that people with chronic pain are using opioid medicine to manage, and this is contraindicated with low-dose naltrexone. One approach may be to research ultra low-dose naltrexone, and that is definitely something you can look into, but that's just an important thing to note. So how did I get started with LDN? I began with 0.5 milligrams in a capsule, and I began taking 1 capsule each evening, and I added a capsule every 4 days until I got to 2 milligrams, where I started to feel an effect. So basically I slowly titrated up to 4 milligrams, and I went into the experiment feeling like 30%, which is a statistically significant result, and an improvement in any symptom would be life-changing. And I was right, so right. It was the biggest boon at the right time, because it had been more than 10 years since diagnosis, and nothing really had helped that much before. I was in a place where I was losing a little bit of hope. So it took me about 6 months to get to 4 milligrams. As previously my body didn't cope with that level. I experienced vivid dreams and flare-ups of viral things like ulcers and cold sores every time I tried to titrate up. I believe my body took so long to respond because there were more than 10 years of healing to work through in the background. But let's get into the juicy stuff, the benefits for using low-dose naltrexone for fibromyalgia. Number 1 is sleep. So despite the research suggesting otherwise, the first time I was able to drop into deep levels of sleep was after beginning LDN. I went from sleeping in 1-hour blocks to 2, 3, or even 4-hour blocks. This is combined with sleep hygiene, restorative yoga, and yoga nidra practices, but that in itself is a massive improvement for me, and I believe that's caused the flow-on effects for the rest of the benefits. So the second is pain. Since about 9 months into treatment, I've had a reduction in neck pain. Neck pain has been a 24/7 issue for over 10 years. I have done all the things to try and manage it. So while starting low-dose naltrexone, I actually learned that the neck issue is myofascial pain syndrome, or trigger points. So they are severe recurring trigger points, which had been previously thrown into the fibro basket and therefore ignored because fibro doesn't have physical symptoms, right? It's they don't believe that there's a place to treat. They believe it's more widespread and neurological and doesn't have a physical base to be treated, if that makes any sense. But we've gone off point here. I've got a whole post on myofascial pain syndrome, which I can link you to. But the physiotherapist who I'd been seeing was helping me to work on these trigger points through intramuscular needling, which is putting a tiny muscle into the trigger point and just letting it relax and encouraging blood flow. And then she would do neck immobilizations. So this and the sleep, which basically reduced the fibromyalgia, it's a perpetuating factor, right? So if you have another condition, you have fibromyalgia, they play not so nicely together. But my pain levels were actually about 6 to 8 out of 10 on the regular, with severe headaches and dizziness and nausea daily back in 2010, before I started trying to improve my health. And just prior to low-dose naltrexone, there were about 4 to 6 out of 10 with occasional severe headaches. Right now, in 2021, my average pain levels are 3 out of 10, with constant management, by the way, which includes pacing, yoga nidra, low-dose naltrexone, the recovery factor supplement, and everything I'm sharing in this post. So please don't think it's only low-dose naltrexone and that I've been doing nothing else. I want that to be really clear. The next benefit is emotional. So if you haven't lived with pain that interrupts sleep, interferes with daily life every day for over a decade, or been unable to sleep for more than an hour at a time for about the same amount of time, it's hard to convey the depth of the impact on my emotional well-being. Not fighting sleep at 3 a.m, not swapping pillows, not having to get my heat pack in the middle of the night, applying cream, and basically just not sleeping due to unrelenting pain is massive. It's a big deal. It makes a massive difference to everything, right? Your quality of life is so different. So it's pretty amazing on that front. And the final thing is fatigue. So the fatigue is the second of my 2 worst symptoms. So the neck pain being the first. And it is still fatigue is still an issue. It still impacts my life, but it is improved. I can get through the day on a 30-minute meditation and a brief sit down with the heat pack. I can't physically stay up past 10 o'clock, but it's a fair trade-off to me because I am now achieving during the day so much more than I ever did with a much better quality of life. So it's 100% so different to what it was before low-dose naltrexone. So that's basically, those are the top kind of benefits that I've experienced. I hope that I've made it clear that low-dose naltrexone is amazing, but I haven't used it alone. I'm really thankful. I'm so thankful that my doctor let me try it. I'm so thankful that I found out about it from Fed Up with Fatigue's website. My friend Donna Gregory Birch, her website is what first introduced me to it and got me researching. The improvement in the sleep, the pain, and the fatigue has been astounding. But other things have happened as well. Like, for example, my digestive health has improved. So it's like I hit one big domino and I've got some other ones going down as I improve. But again, I want you to know it is not a miracle drug. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's so worth a try and to play around with it if you are able to. So thank you so much for watching this. I know it got a bit long, but this is really important for you to see. And don't forget to check out some of my other videos with more information and all of the links below.